The day the galaxy sent its message to Earth began like any normal sunrise over the Pacific Ocean. The sky was clear, the air was calm, and people on Earth were busy with their daily work. No one knew that within minutes, everything would change forever. No one knew that a single message would shake the heart of humanity and rewrite the fate of the stars. In the United Terran Command Center, deep under Geneva, officers were working quietly. Screens glowed with soft blue light, ships moved across space maps, and everything seemed normal. Suddenly, every screen in the command center flickered. The lights dimmed, all communication signals froze, and a strange, deep voice filled the room. The Galactic Dominion had taken over every broadcast channel on Earth. A tall alien with burning orange eyes appeared on the main screen, wearing black armor with glowing red lines. His voice was cold and proud. "To the people of Earth, you will kneel before the Archean Dominion. You have one cycle to surrender your leaders, your ships, and your planet." The message repeated in every language, on every device, across every city. People in homes watched with fear. Children cried. Adults froze. Governments panicked. Even the strongest nations felt helpless because everyone knew the Archean Dominion was powerful. They ruled half the galaxy through fear and force. No planet disobeyed them. No species dared stand against them. But Earth was silent. No reply was sent back. No message of fear or surrender left the planet. It was as if humanity had vanished into a silent shadow. And that silence made the Dominion believe humans were weak. But they were wrong. In the darkness under the lunar surface, Commander Aria Vance stood alone in a long metal corridor. Her face was calm, but her eyes held something dangerous, something sharp. She was known across the secret ranks of Earth as the woman who never broke under pressure. Around her, giant reinforced doors were slowly opening with a deep metallic rumble. She watched the doors rise and reveal a vast underground hangar stretching for miles. The enormous space was filled with black-armored ships hiding under dim red lights. These ships did not appear on any galactic map, they did not emit heat, and they did not show up on radar. This fleet had only one name whispered in secret places: the Midnight Armada. As the doors reached their full height, an encrypted signal buzzed on Aria's wrist device. The screen glowed with a message from the highest command. Just 2 words: "It's time." Her expression changed immediately. Her calm face hardened into determination. She raised her hand and activated the hangar lights. The silent black ships lit up with red energy veins glowing like sleeping monsters waking from a long rest. Earth was not preparing to kneel. Earth was preparing to strike. Back on Earth, the world leaders gathered inside the hidden Terran security bunker. Faces were pale. Tension was heavy in the air. Many believed humanity had no chance against the Dominion. They whispered in fear, asking what Earth should do. Should they surrender? Should they talk? Should they run? But none of them knew that Earth had been preparing for this moment for almost 200 years. Admiral Kane Holt, a tall man with gray hair and sharp eyes, entered the bunker. His face was unreadable, but his voice was strong. "Humanity will not bow," he said calmly. The room fell silent. Everyone stared at him, confused, afraid, unsure. He continued, "We have a plan, and the Dominion will not expect it." He showed them the secret project Earth had guarded for generations. The Midnight Armada, thousands of silent black ships hidden across the Moon, Mars, and inside deep asteroid vaults. Ships built with technology humans had developed in secret, away from spying galactic eyes. Ships created only for one purpose: to protect humanity when the galaxy turned against them. Back on the Moon, Commander Aria stepped forward onto the command bridge of her flagship Nightfall Prime. The ship's interior was dark and smooth, lit only by flowing red lines of energy running across the walls. The crew saluted her as she entered. "All systems ready, Commander," an officer said. "Armada prepared for activation." Arya nodded. She ordered silent launch protocol. The engines of Nightfall Prime powered up without making a sound. The ship rose into the air slowly, like a shadow lifting off the ground. Then one by one, thousands of ships followed. The hangar filled with red light as the black vessels emerged and vanished into the darkness of space. Far above Earth, the Dominion watched, believing humans were doing nothing. Their sensors showed no fleet, no defense, no movement. They thought Earth was scared. They thought Earth was kneeling. But deep in the shadows, the Midnight Armada was beginning to move, like a storm hidden behind darkness. As Arya looked at Earth through her bridge window, she whispered softly, "Let them think we are weak. Let them think we will kneel. They have no idea what is coming." The part ends with her ship turning slowly toward deep space, the Armada following her lead. The silent fleet disappeared into the void, ready for the moment when the galaxy would see Earth's true strength. The galaxy believed Earth was frozen with fear. After the Dominion's threat, no message came from humans, no ships moved from orbit, and no leaders responded. To the outside world, Earth looked weak and scared. That silence made the Dominion confident. They thought the humans were already broken, but in truth, Earth was never more awake, never more focused, and never more dangerous than at that moment. Far from the eyes of the galaxy, Commander Arya Vance watched as the Midnight Armada drifted silently through the dark side of the moon. Hundreds of black ships formed perfect lines, each one glowing with faint red energy veins. They moved without noise, without heat, without signals. They moved like shadows that refused to be seen. This fleet was Earth's greatest secret, a hidden power that even most humans never knew about. Arya stood on the bridge of Nightfall Prime, her flagship. Her sharp eyes scanned the holographic map showing the positions of every ship. Her crew worked quietly, their faces calm but serious. Everyone understood the truth. Earth had only one chance, and it depended entirely on the Midnight Armada. In the command room, an officer spoke carefully. "Commander, transmission from Admiral Holt." Arya nodded, and a hologram of Admiral Kane Holt appeared before her. His face was steady, his voice calm. "Arya, the Dominion believes we are silent because we fear them. Good. Let them believe it a little longer." Arya crossed her arms. "The fleet is ready, Admiral. We wait only for your final signal." Holt looked at her with pride. 200 years of secret construction, and the galaxy has no idea what sleeps in our shadows. He paused, his voice lowering. "When the Dominion sees the Armada, it will be too late for them." Back on Earth, inside the Terran security bunker, the world's leaders watched the first secret footage of the Midnight Armada rising from the lunar hangar. Gasps filled the room. Many had never seen these ships, never even heard of them. The idea that humanity had built a hidden fleet of such size and power was shocking. A diplomat whispered with trembling hands, "All this time, we thought our technology was behind the galaxy." Admiral Holt replied, "We allowed them to think that." He walked to the center of the room and tapped a button. A hologram of a massive black dreadnought appeared, its dark hull covered in burning red patterns. "This is the Heartbreaker-class dreadnought, one of 30 we built in secret." Leaders stared in disbelief. "Why didn't we use them before?" someone asked. Holt answered without hesitation, "Because humanity hoped for peace." His voice became harder, "But the Dominion has chosen war." Meanwhile, millions of kilometers away, the Arxion Dominion battle group was preparing to enter Earth's territory. Their ships were sleek, silver, and filled with advanced weapons. The Dominion soldiers felt confident. They had conquered countless species across the galaxy, and Earth was no different in their eyes.
The Dominion commander, a tall creature with 4 glowing blue eyes, laughed as he studied Earth's silent communications. They do not answer. They accept their fate. But something bothered one of his officers. "Commander, our scanners detected something strange earlier, a shadow on the moon's surface, then it vanished." The commander brushed it off. "A glitch," he replied. "Humans do not have ships capable of hiding from us." He was wrong. Very wrong. Back on Nightfall Prime, Arya received a new update. "Commander, Dominion fleet is approaching the outer defense zone." Arya breathed in slowly. Her voice was steady. "Maintain cloak. No movement until the Admiral speaks." Her crew nodded silently. The tension inside the ship felt heavy, but every soldier trusted the plan. They trusted Arya. They trusted the Armada. For years, they had trained for a day the galaxy hoped would never arrive. Now it was here, and humanity would not bend. Arya stood on the bridge of Nightfall Prime, her flagship. Her sharp eyes scanned the holographic map showing the positions of every ship. Her crew worked quietly, their faces calm but serious. Everyone understood the truth. Earth had only one chance, and it depended entirely on the Midnight Armada. In the command room, an officer spoke carefully. "Commander, transmission from Admiral Holt." Arya nodded, and a hologram of Admiral Kane Holt appeared before her. His face was steady, his voice calm. "Arya, the time for silence is over." Arya crossed her arms. "The fleet is ready, Admiral. We wait only for your final signal." Holt spoke the words Earth had prepared for 2 centuries. "Release the Midnight Armada." Arya raised her hand. "All ships," she commanded, "prepare for silent attack formation." The black ships spread out like wings of a giant hidden creature. The darkness around them seemed to shift as if alive. The fleet moved into attack position without a single sound, without a single flash. They were the shadows of humanity's fury, rising to protect their home. The last image of Part 2 ends with the Midnight Armada disappearing into deep space, heading straight towards the Dominion fleet. The galaxy still believed Earth was quiet, but the storm had already begun.
The Arxion Dominion fleet moved into Earth's space with full confidence. Their silver warships glowed with cold blue light, engines burning bright as they formed a mighty formation across the dark sky. To them, this invasion was simple. Earth would kneel, Earth would obey, Earth would surrender, like every other world they had crushed. But the Dominion did not know the truth. They did not know that humanity had prepared for this moment for generations. They did not know a storm was already closing in around them. Inside the Dominion flagship, Commander Zaltor stood on his throne-like command seat. His 4 glowing eyes studied the sensor screens with amusement. "No warships," he said with a cruel smile. "No defenses, no response." He laughed. "The humans are broken before the battle even begins." His officers nodded, their confidence high. But then, something strange happened. One of the sensor screens glitched. The officer monitoring it frowned. "Commander, our long-range scanner is acting strange," he said. Zaltor waved his hand dismissively. "Human technology is weak. Perhaps the atmosphere is causing interference." The officer hesitated. "Sir, the interference is not coming from Earth," he said slowly. "It is coming from behind us." Zaltor turned sharply. "Behind us?" he repeated, confused. He looked at the rear-view screen, but it showed only empty space, stars shining quietly. "There is nothing there," he growled. But the officer shook his head nervously. "Sir, something is blocking our scanner. Something dark." Meanwhile, far behind the Dominion fleet, hidden inside deep shadows of space, the Midnight Armada moved in perfect silence. Commander Arya Vance stood on the bridge of Nightfall Prime, her eyes fixed on the hologram showing the Dominion ships. "They have no idea we are here," she whispered. Her crew watched the screen with steady hands. Each one knew the danger, but each one trusted the Armada,
trusted Arya, trusted the plan. Arya turned to her tactical officer. "Have the marking drones been deployed?" "Yes, Commander," he replied. "They are tagging enemy ships one by one. They cannot see them." The marking drones were tiny, silent machines built with black nanocoating, invisible to most sensors. They flew like silent insects in the dark, attaching themselves to Dominion ships without leaving a trace. Once marked, the ship's position was known perfectly by the Armada. Earth was mapping the enemy fleet in complete darkness. The Dominion had no clue. Arya studied the growing map. Every Dominion cruiser, every frigate, every dreadnought appeared on her screen glowing red as the drones completed their work. "Good," she said quietly. "Prepare the shadow nets." Her officer hesitated. "Commander, using shadow nets before firing is risky." Arya nodded. "Yes, but it will confuse their sensors even more. They will think space itself is turning against them." Seconds later, invisible energy webs expanded through space, distorting the starlight around the Dominion ships. On the Dominion flagship, alarms suddenly blared. "Commander Zaltor, something is happening to the starlight," an officer shouted. Zaltor glared at the screen in confusion. The stars behind his fleet flickered, twisted, bent unnaturally, as if space itself was warping. "What trick is this?" he roared. Another officer shouted. "Multiple ships are losing sensor alignment." A third officer yelled. "Something is circling us, but we cannot see it." Zaltor slammed his fist on the console. "Who is doing this?" he demanded. Silence followed. No one had an answer. Because the truth was too terrifying. The Midnight Armada had surrounded them without a single light, without a single sound, without a single trace. Back on Nightfall Prime, Arya watched the enemy fleet shift desperately, their formation breaking. "They are confused," she said. "Good. Confusion makes them slow." She signaled her communications officer. "Open secure channel to Admiral Holt." In the Terran security bunker, Admiral Holt appeared on the command screen. Arya stood tall. "Admiral, the Dominion fleet is fully marked. Shadow nets active. They still do not know we are here." Holt's eyes narrowed with satisfaction. "Excellent work, Commander," he said. "Maintain full silence until my final order." Arya nodded, her voice calm. "Understood." The Midnight Armada continued to shift in the dark, silent giants closing in on the Dominion like a pack of predators. Not a single human ship had been detected. Not a single human signal had been intercepted. The Dominion still believed Earth was helpless, still believed Earth was kneeling. On the Dominion flagship, panic began to spread. "Commander, 3 of our patrol ships have vanished from sensors," an officer shouted. Zaltor snapped his head toward him. "Vanished?" he growled. "Explain." He stammered. "They did not explode. They did not jump. They simply disappeared." Another voice called out, "Sir, we are detecting shadows moving." Zaltor slammed both fists on the console. "Show me," he roared. The screen flickered, and for a brief second, a faint black outline appeared behind one of the Dominion cruisers. Then it vanished instantly. The entire command bridge fell silent. Their fear was growing. The humans are close, too close, but the Dominion still could not see them. Meanwhile, Arya prepared the first wave of silent strikes. Her voice was low, but every word carried power. "Target their command ships first. No noise, no explosion trails. We strike like the night itself." Her crew nodded with fierce determination. The final moments of Part 3 end with the Midnight Armada fully surrounding the Dominion fleet. Every human ship in perfect position, every Dominion ship marked. The galaxy unaware that a silent war was about to begin. A storm hidden behind darkness, waiting for one command.
The Dominion fleet floated in Earth's orbit like a silver wall. Their ships formed long, shining lines, engines glowing, weapons ready. From a distance they looked powerful, unstoppable. But inside their ships, fear had begun to grow. Their scanners were still blind, their readings still broken, and the stars themselves looked twisted, as if space had turned against them. Commander Zaltor stood at the center of his command bridge. His 4 glowing eyes darted from screen to screen. "Find the source," he ordered, in a voice filled with anger. "Find what is doing this." But his officers could not. No scanner worked, no sensor responded, and the Dominion fleet moved blindly through a silent trap they did not understand. Far behind them, hidden in the blackness between the stars, the Midnight Armada waited. Thousands of black-hulled human warships floated motionless, cloaked in shadow. Their red energy veins pulsed like a heartbeat in the dark. Inside Nightfall Prime, Commander Area Vance stood tall, her face cold and steady. She studied the hologram showing the Dominion fleet surrounded from all sides. The enemy ships glowed like helpless targets on her screen. Her communications officer turned to her. "Commander, all ships are in strike formation awaiting your order." Area nodded slowly. "Patch me through to the entire Armada." A soft tone echoed, and every ship in the Midnight Armada received her voice. "This is Commander Area Vance," she said, her voice calm but sharp like steel. "The Dominion believes we are afraid. They believe Earth is weak. They believe we will kneel." Her eyes narrowed with fierce determination. "Tonight, we show them what humanity truly is." Her tactical officer whispered, "Commander, Dominion guns are charging." Area did not flinch. "Then we strike first." She lifted her hand. "All ships," she commanded, "decloak." Instantly, the darkness of space tore open. All around the Dominion fleet, thousands of black warships appeared out of thin air. Their hulls shimmered with burning red energy lines like molten metal. The stars reflected off their armor, making them look like living shadows rising from nothing. The Dominion fleet saw them, and panic exploded. On the Dominion flagship, every officer froze. "Commander, one," shouted, his voice shaking. "Ships, thousands of them, surrounding us." Another screamed, "Where did they come from?" Zaltor stared at the screens with disbelief. This cannot be," he whispered. "Humans cannot build this many ships." But they had. Earth had built them in silence, in secret, waiting for this very moment. Area watched the enemy fleet fall into chaos. She gave the order that would ignite the sky. "All ships," she said quietly, "fire." The Midnight Armada unleashed its power. Silent quantum cannons glowed red, energy charging like stars dying inside each barrel. Then the weapons fired, not with loud explosions, but with silent beams of red light that cut through space like blades. Dominion ships were struck instantly, their hulls melted, engines shattered, and entire cruisers vanished in bursts of red flame. From Earth's surface, people looked up and gasped. The night sky was burning red. It looked like the stars themselves were catching fire. Admiral Holt watched from the Terran security bunker, his voice steady. "The Dominion wanted fear," he said. "Now they have it." Inside the Dominion flagship, alarms screamed. "We are losing ships," an officer shouted. "We cannot see them. We cannot target them," another cried. 6 dreadnoughts destroyed in seconds." Zaltor roared in rage, "Fire back!" But their guns could not lock on. Every Dominion cannon shot into empty space, missing every target. Their technology was useless against the Midnight Armada's shadow systems. Aria's voice echoed through her command bridge. "Second wave, target their command ships." The fleet responded instantly. More beams of red light shot across the darkness, slicing through Dominion dreadnoughts like paper. Their ships exploded, debris scattering in bright trails of fire. One Dominion officer whispered in horror, "Commander, they are not fighting like any species we know." Zaltor's hands trembled. Humans are monsters," he whispered. But Aria was not done. She turned to her helmsman.
Prepare Nightfall Prime, main cannon. The ship's front section opens slowly, revealing a giant red core glowing with deadly energy. The stars around it dimmed under its power. The crew braced themselves as the core reached full charge. Target the Dominion flagship, Area ordered. On the Dominion bridge, their officers screamed, "Commander, a massive energy spike detected. It is coming from the largest human ship." Zaltor's eyes widened with fear. "Brace for impact." Area lowered her hand and whispered the final command. "Fire!" A colossal beam of red light erupted from Nightfall Prime, expanding like a burning sun across space. It struck the Dominion flagship directly. The ship shattered instantly, exploding into a massive fireball that lit up the entire sky. For one moment, the night over Earth looked as bright as dawn. Area watched calmly as the flagship disappeared. "One more target," she said quietly. Her eyes glowed with cold fire. "Leave only one surviving ship." The part ends with the Dominion fleet burning, their wreckage falling like red stars. Only one ship remains untouched, trembling, damaged and terrified, waiting to carry humanity's message back to the galaxy.
The battlefield above Earth was silent now. The bright fires had faded, the explosions were gone, and the great silver ships of the Dominion had turned into drifting, burning debris. Only one Dominion warship remained, damaged, shaking, its lights flickering weakly. It floated helplessly between the stars, a wounded witness to the power it had never expected. Commander Area Vance stood on the bridge of Nightfall Prime, watching the last enemy ship on her screen. The Midnight Armada surrounded it like giant shadows, their red energy lines glowing softly in the darkness. Her crew waited for her command, but Area raised her hand for silence. "No more firing," she said quietly. "This one lives." Her officers exchanged confused glances. One of them asked, "Commander, should we capture them?" Area shook her head slowly. "No," she replied. "We will send them home." Back in the Terran security bunker, Admiral Holt appeared on the communication screen. His expression was calm, but filled with powerful emotion. "Commander," he said, "is the Dominion fleet destroyed?" Area nodded once. "Yes, Admiral. All ships except one." Holt leaned forward, his voice steady as iron. "Good," he said. "That ship will deliver our message." On the enemy warship, Dominion crew members were panicking. Their screens were dead, engines failing, and they had no idea why the humans had stopped firing. Their new commander, Captain Reltor, stared at the massive human ships surrounding them. His hands trembled. "Why are they not finishing us?" he whispered. His officers shook their heads. "Perhaps they want to torture us?" one said fearfully. Another whispered, "Perhaps they want us to tell the Dominion what happened here." Suddenly, a transmission request appeared on their cracked screen. "Incoming signal," an officer said nervously. Reltor swallowed hard and accepted it. The image of Admiral Kane Holt appeared before them. His face was calm, cold, and filled with a silent strength that made every Dominion soldier freeze. His voice was deep and steady. "This is Admiral Holt of Earth." He paused, letting the silence sink into their hearts. "You came to make us kneel." Reltor bowed his head in fear. His voice shook. We did not expect such power." Holt stared at him with eyes that held no fear. "Earth kneels to no empire." Every human officer in the Midnight Armada stood taller at those words. Holt continued, "You will return to your Dominion. You will tell them what happened here. You will tell them what the Midnight Armada did, A." Reltor nodded, still trembling. "And if they come back?" he asked quietly. Holt leaned closer to the screen. "If they come back," he said, his voice sharp like a knife, "the stars will burn brighter than today." The Dominion crew sat in frozen silence, their hearts pounding with terror. The message was clear. Earth
was not a weak world. Earth was not a frightened world. Earth was not prey. Earth was a storm waiting in darkness, a force that no empire should ever test again. Back on Nightfall Prime, Arya watched as the last Dominion ship slowly activated its engines. It limped away from the battlefield, broken and terrified. Her tactical officer turned to her. "Commander, they are retreating." Arya nodded once. "Good. Let them carry our warning." The Midnight Armada remained silent, watching the enemy ship drift farther and farther away. When it was finally out of range, Arya gave her next order. "All ships, return to shadow formation." The black warships slowly faded, their cloaks reactivating, their glowing red lines dimmed, and one by one, they vanished from sight, becoming part of the darkness once more. On Earth, people filled the streets, cheering, crying, hugging each other. News channels reported the impossible victory. Families looked up at the sky with pride, knowing humanity had stood strong. The fear that had once filled their hearts had changed into something much greater. Hope, strength, unity. Admiral Holt walked outside the Terran Command Center for the first time since the battle began. The sun was rising, painting the sky with warm colors. People gathered around him, cheering, but Holt simply looked toward the horizon and whispered, "This is only the beginning." High above Earth, hidden in the vastness of space, the Midnight Armada continued to watch over their world. Silent, invisible, ready. Commander Arya Vance stood at the front window of Nightfall Prime, the blue light of Earth reflecting in her eyes. She placed her hands behind her back, standing tall and strong. "They wanted us to bow," she said softly, "but they will remember this night forever." Her second officer stepped beside her. "Commander, do you think the Dominion will return?" Arya nodded slowly. "Yes," she said, "empires always return." But then her voice hardened. "And so will we." The final scene shows the Midnight Armada drifting silently across the darkness, black wings spread across the stars. No longer a secret, no longer a rumor, now a legend. A legend the galaxy would never forget. A legend called humanity.